Hi, I'm Lauren, an OpenSciEd teacher and facilitator. In Lesson 9, we're revisiting our initial phenomenon and testing our model to help us see where we still need to do more investigating. Let's get started. First, let's look back at how we got here. In Lesson 8, we put together everything we figured out so far in Lessons 1 through 7. We figured out that plants use energy from the sun to make the sugars from the carbon dioxide and water inputs. During this process, energy is transferred from the sunlight to the plant, and this process happens in the chloroplast of the plant cell. Now we're ready to go back to our maple tree and think about where its food molecules come from. Here's a look at our lesson at a glance. Lesson 9 is a one-day problematizing lesson. We're going back to our initial phenomenon and testing whether our model can explain where the food in the maple tree comes from. There's about 20 minutes of preparation time, and this lesson includes a video clip that you'll need to show your students. Here's our learning plan snapshot. We start this lesson by going back to our DQB and developing answers to those questions we feel we can answer. Then students read about the history of maple tree tapping before considering how our models can be used to explain why sugar is found in maple trees. But we recognize our models don't explain how sugar is found in the trees during times when they don't have leaves. So we have more questions and more to figure out. In this lesson, we figure out that maple trees are tapped in early spring before there are leaves on the trees, and that they have sap or food even when there aren't leaves on the trees. So we also learn that people have been tapping trees for sap for a long time, and there are other trees besides maple trees which produce sap. Here are a few of the key moments in the lesson. So we start this lesson by looking at our driving question board. We just finished our midpoint assessment and the first lesson set, so this is an opportunity to pause and to check in and see what we can now answer. It's also going to motivate the need to figure out more. So the teacher guide has suggestions for how to facilitate this. I like to have a typed copy of each class's questions and have the students first individually go through the list and decide whether we've answered the question or not, and then have them compare in small groups. I actually give this to students for homework the night before. I give them that list the night before so they come into class ready to have the discussion about which questions they think we've answered with evidence. Then in our whole class discussion, I physically move those questions to another area of the wall. So it highlights what we still need to figure out. Another key moment is part 3, where the students revisit our consensus model. So the first year I taught this, I actually skipped lesson 9 to save time, but I've come to realize this is really important to help motivate the second half of the unit. So time well spent here. So in this part, we'll talk through again what our model currently explains, but the goal here is to have the students notice 3 main inconsistencies with our model based on what we know about maple trees. So this is a good place to really model as a teacher how puzzling this is. So our model says plants only make sugar when they have leaves, but the video shows sap coming out of the maple tree when there aren't any leaves on the trees. And we explained how the plants make glucose or sugar, but we know there's other food molecules in the plant too. How are they being made? Our model doesn't explain that. And third, we still haven't explained why water is coming out of the plant. So there are things we still need to figure out. And the students can brainstorm initial explanations for this. This is a great time for random partners or a quick turn and talk at their table. In part 4, students will move from their initial explanations to developing more questions. I actually have the students bring a notebook with them to jot down questions as they were trying to explain something initially. This is a visible step for students to see. We're shifting our overall question now based on what our model doesn't explain yet. So now we're trying to figure out how can the plants have these food molecules in them when all of the inputs and the structures needed aren't there. So again, with the DQB, there's many ways to facilitate this activity. I like to have the students brainstorm questions in groups and then work together to decide one or two to share with the class, which we then post. If you choose to have students write questions individually, you could use it as a formative assessment to see how they're doing with testable questions. Regardless, this part of the lesson is a key moment because it sets our purpose. We have more to figure out. There aren't any materials to manage in this lesson, but you will want to spend a little bit of time thinking about how you're going to facilitate those discussions and the use of the driving question board. No new words are added to our word wall in lesson 9. And in lesson 9, we will use the consensus model from lesson 8. So it's important to have that posted and visible. But other than that, no new materials are created during this lesson. So in this lesson, lesson 9, we realize we still have more to figure out and we have more questions. So we'll move from this lesson into a new investigation to figure out why plants don't die at night when they aren't getting that input of sunlight. So hear more about this lesson in the next planning video.